and welcome to episode 19 of Shetland Trader Chats. For those of you who may not have watched before and are joining for the first time, my name is Gudrun Johnston. I am originally from Shetland. I was born here, but left when I was about 5 and mostly grew up in mainland Scotland. And then my parents retired back to Shetland, which is where I am right now, by the way, about 20 years ago. And I have been visiting a lot during that time, and that coincided with me becoming a knitwear designer and getting in touch with my roots here. That was a very brief a brief explanation of me. Just thought I should mention that because I think in the last episode there were some people who had shown up for the first time here. So yeah, I am actually in Shetland right now, and I'm recording this outside because it's such a calm and lovely day. There's basically no wind. So I figured, why not come outside and record here? This is really just an introduction to this episode because most of this episode will be featuring Hazel Tindall, who is an expert Fair Isle Shetland knitter. And I was able to go and chat with her at her house last week, and I also wanted to share my thoughts here on the podcast about the recent episode, or the first episode of The Game of Wool, which is a reality type TV show about knitting and I guess maybe crochet. I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, it's a program that Channel 4 put out, and it aired here in the UK a few days ago. I don't even know what day it is right now, but this week. And I had not really heard much about this show prior to being here, and I was curious as to what it would be like. I know there's lots of very popular reality TV things, competitions that are based out of here, and baking ones and sewing ones that people enjoy. I also haven't really watched those, mostly because I am based in the States, and so it's harder sometimes to watch some of those things. But certainly I was curious about this one. But I was kind of shocked, or not kind of, I was very shocked and disappointed with the first episode. And I shared some of those thoughts on my Instagram stories, and a lot of other Shetlanders also expressed their disappointment with the episode, mainly because it really misrepresented Fair Isle knitting and got a lot of things wrong about it. The challenge for those who haven't watched it, and it is only available here in the UK right now, unless you're using a VPN or whatever. The first challenge that the contestants were given was to design a modern Fair Isle tank top, is kind of what they said. And they were given really thick yarn and chunky needles, and there was just a lot of misuse of Shetland Fair Isle knitting terms. It was really quite cringeworthy and honestly, ultimately just quite insulting to this knitting culture and heritage and history that comes from this place. And I definitely had a really strong reaction to it. I kind of felt bad for the contestants too. Like, I'm not, absolutely don't condone whatever, having fun in a reality type TV show. And I get that they had to use chunky yarn to get through a project quickly. That's not really the issue. It's that it appears that the producers of this show did actually come to Shetland and to Fair Isle specifically, and spoke with people there, and they didn't use any of that, and instead they gave all this kind of half-ass information and misinformation about Fair Isle knitting. And then the projects that the contestants did, they were stranded colourwork projects for the most part. And it was just a really missed opportunity and really disappointing, because so often Fair Isle knitting and Fair Isle techniques are misappropriated, particularly in the fashion industry. And I just think it's not acceptable. So I just kind of wanted to say it here. I feel in a way that it's fortunate. There's a boat going by over there, so it's a little noisy. I hope you can hear me still. I'm really grateful that I am here right now, kind of when this came out, because it had already been my plan to speak with Shetland knitters here anyway and just share some of their stories and how they like to knit and all that kind of thing. But as it happened, I interviewed Hazel Tindall last week, and we were talking about the game of wool, and both kind of, hoping that it would be good and etc. So when you switch to our conversation in a few minutes, you will hear us talking about that. That was recorded before we had watched the episode or anything. We were hopeful that it would be a good thing, and so just want to mention that. But I'm glad that I have the opportunity to be here and share with all of you conversations with actual Shetland knitters and the ways that they knit, the ways they do Fair Isle, the different knitting techniques, some of their story, their work, so that you can really get a sense of actually what Fair Isle is. And I guess that's all I'm going to say about Game of Wool right now. I am not trying to stir anything up. I am just trying to make sure that there's clarity about the use of the term Fair Isle. Another thing I wanted to mention is that there is a recently formed organization here in Shetland called the Shetland Organisation of Knitters, SOK, S-O-K. And they're a charity, actually, and they formed specifically for the reason to protect the heritage aspects of Shetland knitting, promote it, make sure that that information is being passed across correctly. So I will link to them below. It'd be great if you can start following them on Instagram. You can sign up for emails from them. They're going to be doing some fundraising, I think, soon, and I'm hoping to, be able to be involved in that. And hoping to also talk to somebody from the organization. I know a couple of people who are trustees on it. But yeah, I'll be sharing conversations with a number of different knitters here in Shetland. First up, though, is Hazel Tindall, and I hope you enjoy hearing our conversation. And the next episode after this, I will be chatting with Jeanette Budge, who is, I think, technically Hazel's first cousin once removed, whatever that term is. I got to have a chat with her yesterday. We recorded, and that was so much fun as well. So I can't wait to share all of that with you. So enjoy. Well, hi, Hazel. Thanks for joining me on my podcast here whilst I'm in Shetland. So I just wanted to sit and ask you some questions about knitting, obviously. Mm-hmm. I think most people are interested in the basics, as in how do you hold your yarn, and things like that. I mean, I know that you knit with a knitting belt.
I do, yeah.
And do you hold, when you're knitting with two colours, do you hold one in each hand?
One in each hand.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we're going to put some video in of Hazel knitting, because I know that everybody wants to see that, because Hazel has held the fastest knitter of the world title twice, right?
Mm-hmm.
What years was that again?
2004 and 8.
Okay.
But it's not a very interesting thing to watch, so I don't know if there's been any more competitions.
I don't know either. But do you know about the knitting competition that's starting on Channel 4?
Oh, the Game of Wool.
The Game of Wool thing, yeah.
Yes.
I've just been seeing some adverts for that. So because I'm here, I'll be able to watch it, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to see it in the States. So I'm curious to see what that's all about. But
yeah, I'm a bit curious
too.
I
bet.
And they're calling it the Game of Wool, and I do hope they're using wool at all times, but I'm not convinced that that'll be the case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know very much about it. I just started seeing things popping up on social media about it. So
no, I remember having a phone call with one of the researchers. I think she was asking about history which
Okay.
is not my thing at all. I just knit. And in that, I told her, you really, really need to visit Fair Isle.
Yeah.
Now, whether they did or not, I don't know, but I think they maybe
Oh.
visited Shetland.
Okay.
I
Right.
think. Yeah.
Well, that's good that you said that. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's all about making a programme with drama, and
yes.
you know.
Oh, the competition shows are there's one for everything now.
Yes.
So yes.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah. But knitting is not something you can do quickly.
Well, it doesn't need to be done quickly, does it?
No. No. But you can't produce something. In an hour. Well, you can't produce much.
Not a lot.
No.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. So, well, I mean, going to that notion though of like knitting fast, and you do knit fast, and a lot of Shetlanders knit fast, but a lot of that has to do with the equipment, right? I mean, using the belt helps some of the dexterity because you're making faster movements with your fingers, but not taking the weight of the knitting the same way.
You're not gripping and
yeah.
And you don't spend so much time shuffling stitches along.
Right, that's something I think that was talked about at the talk at Mariel. The notion of moving the stitches. I think it was Helen Robertson that was talking about that. So yeah, there's mechanics there.
Yeah, because I remember checking with straight needles. I think that I could make maybe 40 before I had to move the stitches along.
Oh, okay.
Whereas with a circular, you're only getting about 20. Okay. Before you're shuffling the stitches along.
Moving them around.
Yeah. But I suppose if you have a skinny needle as your feed needle, it might be faster. If you've got interchangeables, you put
some people do that.
Yeah.
Exactly. Put it on a smaller needle on one side. Yes. I don't do that.
I don't have interchangeable.
That's what I knit with. It's pretty much circulars and interchangeables. I already know the answer to this question, but who taught you to knit, and what's your memory of that?
My sole memory of learning to knit is looking at stitches on a needle and trying to identify what was knit and what was purl. And I don't remember anything else. But I would have been watching knitters from the time that I could first focus on movement.
Yeah.
And so I think osmosis, maybe.
Yeah.
So you know what it should look like. And I always say I learned to crochet a few years after. I first saw somebody crocheting when I was 19.
Okay.
And it was a man, and he would sit and crochet, and I watched. And never once did I say, can you teach me? But after he died, I got his hooks and some of his unfinished stuff and patterns. And then I bought a book and taught myself, but I knew what it should look like. Yeah. I'd obviously absorbed how he held the yarn and the hook, and it was really quite easy to learn. Right. So I think watching for a while helps. Yeah.
So when you are knitting with just one colour, how are you holding your yarn?
The right hand.
In the right hand. Okay.
And it just a flick rather than none of this lifting your hands off the needle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you say that that's the fairly standard way in Shetland, if you're using one colour?
It is, but I was brought up in a household where my mother was from this area. My dad's family, because there were 3 generations in the house.
Okay.
There was my unmarried aunt and my grandmother, and they were both from North Maven, which is the northern half of Shetland mainland. And there's no tradition of using a belt, and they knit with the yarn in their left hand.
So cool.
So they didn't use belts.
Wow.
But nobody can remember how they knit it with 2 colours. Because we didn't look. I've asked my older cousins and they can't remember. And I have a friend who's, she'll be in her maybe mid-80s now. And she was brought up in that area, and she didn't see a knitting belt until she went away to teacher training. and she met another Shetlander using a belt.
So she went away off Shetland for
yeah.
teacher training?
Yeah.
Wow.
And that was when she first saw a belt.
Gosh, that's amazing. I did not know that.
Yeah.
That there were parts of... Is North Maven considered the only area that belts weren't used, or do you know if there's others?
I've not heard of others.
Yeah.
And one of my aunts said that she'd been told it was a shipwrecked German that had taught them to knit with the yarn.
It's always shipwrecked
in the left hand many years ago.
Okay.
I guess there's been many a shipwreck.
Yeah. That's great. And actually, that... Well, is there something specific then to the west side of Shetland that you think is unique when it comes to knitting or Fair Isle, or nothing specifically?
Not as far as I know.
Okay. I also know the answer to this question, but Fair Isle or lace knitting?
Fair Isle. I like colour.
Yeah.
And although in my tidyings up this week, I found a notebook where I have my name at the front, and height was 4 foot, I think, and age 11. And then I have all the pages numbered, and I have a variety of lace patterns written down.
Oh, really?
And there was one I thought, oh, I wonder what that looks like, but I think I must have made a mistake because it didn't work. And some recipes for things like sweeties and cakes. And
oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I was aware of lace knitting at 11 years old, because I think I would have been about then I saw my cousin's knitting. She was about maybe 8 years older than me, and she knitted a beautiful lemon lace scarf at school, and I said to my mother, I would like to do that, and she said it's too hard, stick to the Fair Isle.
Oh really?
Well, I think she couldn't be bothered to
It's so funny. Yeah. But, I mean, just the notion that it's too hard, you know, that somehow Fair Isle is easier, because I think a lot of people would feel the opposite way. I found Fair Isle to, you know, I was really impressed with it, but I found it quite intimidating to imagine how I would possibly pick colours. And I think that's one of the biggest things that people struggle with Fair Isle knitting. It's like, well, how do you put the colours together to make the patterns work? And so if you could give a piece of advice with regards to that, what would you say?
If you were to say pick 8 colours, you split them into light and dark, and then you would line them up. The lightest, you would go lightest to dark, and you would grade them from the, and then you would knit your lightest light with your lightest dark. Okay. And your darkest light with your darkest dark. And if you go, if you follow that gradation, that should work. Yeah. You need plenty of contrast.
Yeah. So, you know, would you say that that's something that's also a matter of taste for people, you know, in terms of how much contrast you have, you know?
Probably, yeah. But for me, if I can't see the difference in the colours of the stitches on the needle, I'm wasting my time.
Yes.
But if you've gone to the trouble of knitting a beautiful pattern and you can't see it because of the colours, why bother? You might as well make 1 and 1.
Yeah.
So,
well, there's a term that I had only kind of come across more recently within Shetland when thinking about the colours. Well, the term is like cutting the pattern, like
brack the pattern.
Is that what you
cut? Brack.
Okay.
So which is break or cut?
Yeah, and so that's when you're avoiding. I mean, you're avoiding breaking the pattern.
Yeah.
And that would be when you do too much of a jump between colours. So it kind of it draws the eye to the top or the bottom of the motif and that kind of thing.
And the middle is lost. Yeah. And something I very rarely do is change both colours in one row.
Right, that's something that I think Alison Rendell maybe talks about in her book that she just brought out. Because that's
Yeah.
so you'll change one first for like a row or two, or
a row or 2 rows, or whatever. Yeah.
To help with the blending.
It helps. It makes it more subtle blending.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's so many questions to ask about color, how to pick colors, and it is hard. You said you're playing with some colors right now. Can we have a look at that? And can you maybe just talk about what you're experimenting with there?
Well, I'm just using up colours, and I don't think it's repeated anywhere. I think this is just too bright.
The patterns are all different as well.
The patterns are all different. This is actually getting wider here, so there's more. And I didn't. There was no planning that went on with it, so somehow I think this is a 22 stitch repeat, which is a silly number.
Yeah.
It's so here, so that these things would line up.
Yeah.
Then this is 11 stitches, which is another silly number.
So you made it an 11 stitch repeat so that it would be able to work into.
Because normally you would have an odd number of stitches between these things.
Yeah.
But it's got an even number here to make it work. And
yeah.
So I just kept it going right up till I got to the neck. So this is going to be a V-neck.
Okay.
So I think some colours work better than others.
But you can see all of the patterns, which was what we were just talking about.
You can see all the patterns.
And you have your steek stitches up the front for the neck here, and then the armholes. Do you prefer vertical steeks?
I do, I like my straight lines.
Yeah.
And so this is the body stitch is one colour, and the first steek stitch is the opposite colour.
Okay.
And I keep that going up.
Yeah.
And then you can see where you're going to pick up here, you can see to cut here.
Yeah. So have you left 2 stitches in the centre?
I have, yeah.
Ah, okay.
I've done 8 stitches here.
An 8 stitch steek,
and the
2 in the centre are kept in the...
And sometimes I'll only do 7, but for some reason I did 8.
Okay.
When I'm doing a V-neck, I usually start with decreasing every row for
at
a
the
bit.
Start.
And that gives you space for whatever ribbon you've got fitting in here. So, and then it goes to alternate rows.
Okay.
And once you've got here-ish, it's straight.
Okay.
So you have a wide V, and then it slopes, and then it goes straight.
Okay.
And that to me works best.
It's a good shape, yeah.
And usually you have your decreases. The conventional way would be to have the decreases facing this way. So you would have
leading in the direction of
but these are all, the decreases are going in here, and I think they're less obvious that way.
Okay. Is that something you've done just for this?
Well, I've done it a few times. Okay. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's no one way of doing things, or yeah.
And something I usually do is cast off the steek stitches before I join the shoulder. And I usually join the shoulder with a 3-needle binder.
Okay.
But this time I grafted it along here. So the front is a bit longer than the back. It drops the back down a bit.
Okay.
And I got to here and I thought, what can I do here? Because I didn't really want a whole repeat that width, so I just stuck in that's the colour of the ribs and the colour that's going to go here.
That works.
So this one is grafted along here.
And will you block before you cut the steek?
No, I'll be going to cut it before I knit the edging.
Right.
Yeah.
And you don't do anything basically to those steek stitches.
No.
Just go ahead and cut.
No, because this will be going to be sold. I might catch them down. But
okay, but you don't necessarily do that if it's just
no.
something for yourself?
If I was going to just wear it, I
Yeah.
would just let it go.
Yeah.
And it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I always say when people are scared to cut this,
Yeah.
then if they pull that edge once it's been cut, they'll see
It doesn't go
it's
anywhere.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, people
Yeah.
get quite nervous and excited about doing that for the first time.
Yes, yes.
And yes.
Yeah, so I might film cutting because it's
Yeah, people
something
always
that
love
people
seeing
like.
that.
And I've filmed cutting up, especially a V, because you can see it appearing.
Yes.
So I'll probably film that before I do any more.
Great. Oh, and I just want to mention too to people watching that Hazel told me before we started filming that this ribbing was machine made. Did you say it was from your sister? Is probably 30 years old or something.
Yeah.
So she's used this piece of ribbing that she got from her sister to then make the rest of this vest, which will be something she'll sell.
But it's not that white. It was too white for a hat.
Right. Okay.
But it's okay for something that's going to be sort of waist length or just below waist.
Yeah.
But it won't do for white hips. but
and where will you sell this?
I'll probably put it either to the shop. There's a shop in Lerwick that takes knitting.
Okay.
El D'Amato, I think it's called. If I got that right.
Okay.
Below loose ends.
Okay, below loose ends. Okay.
Or
I think I know the one you
put
mean,
it
actually.
to the. If it doesn't go there, I'll put it to the Shetland Textile Museum.
Right.
But they're only open in the summer months, so.
Right.
But what sells best there are little Fair Isle hexagons.
Oh yeah?
Because they're small.
Okay. So.
And they're not like too expensive, so they can fit inside inside a book.
As a coaster? Or?
As a coaster.
Okay.
A coaster, or you could use them for patching elbows.
Oh right, that's
I
a
have
good idea.
I have a cardigan that really needs maybe some attention. It's had a lot of bending on the elbows, and normally with garments I'll just take the sleeves off and swap them.
Okay.
So this elbow becomes this once it's been mended. So you
take off a piece.
You cut them off up here.
Okay.
And then graft them back on.
But
the one I'm thinking about, I knit the whole lot up to the armholes, including the sleeves, and then the whole sleeve tops and the body top was all knitted in a oneer.
Okay.
So swapping sleeves on that one is tricky. So I might make little hexagons to stick on choose the colours and it has had mending, but maybe the hexagons would give it a bit more life. But I have so many jumpers that they tend to be worn for a bit, and then I'll wash them and put them away.
Right.
And get something new.
Yeah.
So.
Do you, I know you do a lot of knitting for sale, and sometimes you do commissions and things like that too, but when you are knitting just for yourself, like what do you turn to? Like what's a favourite thing? I mean, do you like to knit sweaters? Or
I like to knit big things because then you pick it up and you just keep going. Whereas if you're always knitting little things, you're always starting. Sometimes the hardest thing is to get started.
Right. But you do sometimes choose a small project as a way to do a swatch, to sort of try colours out and things like that. Like...
Yeah. I have a commission. He's been waiting for ages, and he sent me a photo that he's taken from the TV, and it's not a very good photo. And I have, I'll probably do a hat to see if that's because it's a V-neck slip over he wants.
Right.
And I'll probably do a hat. And because if I get a commission, there's a lot of emails back and forth because you need to know what colours they want in roughly, and then you need to know if they want horizontal patterns like this, or if you want the vertical. which is I prefer. But
I was going to ask you, yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like you do a lot of vertical
I-
patterns,
I do
thinking of, things
Yeah.
I've seen of yours.
yeah, I do like the panel ones better. I think one reason is, well, when you're short and wide, you want something to draw the eye up the way. And also, once you've got that pattern set, you just keep going. Whereas this always the two plain rows. I always like two because I like to frame the pattern.
Yeah.
I think one's too little, so you're constantly having to reset the pattern.
Right.
And that's one reason that I have 22 here and 11 here, because then you can keep looking down to see if they're lined up.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to accidentally do a two together, and if it's not, then it doesn't. If you do that, you don't get it lined up.
Right. Yeah.
So for a commission, I sometimes will do. Once I decide, I think I know what colours they want, I'll do a few swatches, and it's useful things. So I probably do hand warmers because they're not too white.
Right.
And then a secret is that if you do three, you put the one you like in the middle, and almost certainly if a photo, and that'll be the one that they're most likely to go for. But so often I'll get the colours and I'll knit something, and then the other two aren't as good. So it tends to be the right one comes first.
Oh, that's good.
By accident.
Right.
Well,
Well, probably a lot of experience.
But I try to improve, and it's not an improvement.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you
It's
so
all
much
right.
for sitting and chatting with me. I know everyone will be loving this when they watch it. And yeah, we'll put up a little video of you actually doing some knitting with your belt too.
Okay. So I've got on my knitting belt, and I like to have a string in my knitting, and it's just threaded through the cast on somewhere, and that goes round the belt a couple of times, and then you can pull it out and in according to what's comfortable.
And that's just creating some tension.
It's creating tension, yeah. And I'm not sure what I'm doing here. So the pattern colour is always on this hand, and it's just like this, but it has to come out of this joint on this hand. This hand, it's just in here, so it's like that, and it can come, it's fine to come out at the bottom of the little finger. And for knitting in the round, I like to have the stitches split over 2 needles. And as soon as possible, I'll get my fingers into the middle of this triangle, and this is forgotten. So do you want me to slow down?
Yeah. I'm sure that I might be able to do a little part of the video that is in slow motion as well. So if it feels weird for you to go so slowly, don't feel like you have to do that for long.
So this is just a simple 3 and 3. And that one's a bit tight because it was an increase in the row below. There's just a really nice rhythm to use in the 2 hands.
And having the work spread over 2 needles just means that it's more compact towards the body, like you've got less things.
Yeah, you keep your stitches pretty bunched up, and if you have more needles, then it's more to control. And I like to be in control of the knitting. And when you get to the end, you're still ignoring that needle.
Okay.
I'm not sure what I planned for row 2, but
Okay, well.
it'll be fine. Sometimes I start this way, So the needle goes behind this one, and that gets the two stitches nearer together. A lot of people are bothered with laddering.
Okay.
If you keep that second stitch tight, and then you want to watch that the colour isn't too tight around that corner.
Right.
This is the beginning row marker.
Okay.
I don't use stitch markers. I think it's easier if you read the pattern. If I've started this way, I need to get the needles the right way round.
I see.
So if I needed a marker, for example, the one I'm wearing, when I was setting the pattern, I would have had a coloured thread in. Well, I've probably had a coloured thread in where this pattern begins. So this is 27 stitches. So I would have had a coloured thread here.
Okay.
And probably again here.
Okay.
So not much by way of markers.
Amazing.